Everybody on campus was there. It was on Thursday. Tuesday, freshman orientation was all the freshmen there. Thursday, we had conference. Everybody was there. It was like, the original concept of the religious setting for everybody was doing the convocation would meet for that. But the whole school was there.
So Dr. Banks, you graduated in what, 62?
I graduated in 62.
Where'd you go from there?
I had decided that once I was making the transition from basketball to the track team, I had decided that, I guess when I was a kid, thinking that I might be able to play after I left college. All kids think that. I changed the whole image then. I didn't see this. The track and field was, I enjoyed it. I had to compete in one track meet in high school because in order for us to be eligible with the new rules in the integrating of schools in Kentucky, I had to, the team had to, we had to play some baseball games. We had to do track and field, and so we didn't, we didn't have enough guys to really do all of that stuff. And so I had done one track meet in high school, and now I am, ranked pretty high in the Ohio Valley Conference in track and field. The 1960 Olympics came around. I hadn't trained well enough to even qualify for that team. But I was thinking that maybe I could begin to train and get ready to go to 64. And that was a setting that I was possibly thinking about getting ready to. Before I left I was really ready to transfer. Once I got the disappointment about playing basketball, I was going to transfer maybe to Marshall or even Ohio University. And my sister, who lived in Cincinnati, wanted me to even come to the University of Cincinnati. Tom Thacker, who played at University of Cincinnati, was at Covington Grant High School, and we played Covington Grant, during my senior year. So Tom and I got to be good friends. So when I saw him playing at the University of Cincinnati with Oscar Robinson, I'm saying, well, wow, I could have been there, because playing against Tom on the same team, we could play, absolutely play. About my junior year, I started thinking about what I would do. It was funny. When I went to Morehead, I was going to be a biology major. That was my first choice, and then I get there, and Coach Luke says, "No, you're not. You're going to be a physical education major." He said, "Nobody on this team majors in anything other than physical education." I said, "Well, Coach," he said, "No. You're going to major in physical education." And so I did. I majored in physical education. Exercise science was, my particular idea of looking at things. And so when I started my senior year, I started thinking about writing to different graduate schools, graduate programs. And Zadia Harrell was chairman of the physical education department at Morehead State at that time. And he had graduated at Southern Illinois. And he had also taught at Edwardsville. And so he said, "Would you be interested in going there?" And I said, "Well, yes," but now I looked at the University of Illinois, and in the field of health and physical education recreation, they were the #1 university in the United States as far as looking at exercise science and exercise physiology, kinesiology in areas. And I said, well, I think I'd rather make application there. And he said, no problem. We could begin to take a look at that. I'd also made application at the University of Maryland for a graduate assistantship. So things were going pretty good. I hadn't heard from any of them. And this is April. I'm still just on, they asked me, what are you going to do? I said, well, hopefully I'll be able to go to grad school. My senior year, we went through the awards for athletics. I received the Glenn Miller Award, and that is the top performing athlete as well as the top academic award that you can get. And so I was voted by the teams and the coaches as most valuable athlete for 62. So I was doing pretty good. My GPA was okay. I had not been rejected at any of the institutions, and so I was able to get this letter from Carbondale. I was accepted there, University of Maryland, and Illinois. And so I chose to go to Illinois as a grad assistant after I graduated. So I finished my master's degree there, and I finished in 1963. At that time, we were able to get in and to get the 30-hour thesis and so forth put together, and I graduated in 63. I taught 2 years at Champaign High School, my first teaching job. I was teaching physical education and health, and I was assistant basketball coach and assistant track coach. I made $5,200 a year. I had my master's degree. I was really rolling then. I said, wow. I'm married, had a kid, the whole bit. I said, absolutely, this is the situation. I am really, if I ever made $10,000 a year, I'd buy up half of Ashland, But at that time, it was a marketable salary. It was in the ballpark. I mean, that was the going rate. Food was groceries and everything. Gasoline was 25 cents a gallon. During the gas war, it would go down to 19 or 18 cents. Milk and bread and all that. You could not buy $20 worth of groceries. You'd come out with 5 or 6 bags, and you could not put that much food in the refrigerator. You would just be wasting stuff. So now you go with $20, they roll the bag down and then charge you 5 cents for the bag. But it's totally different. After that I got a call. And this is in 63, from 63 to 65, I coached and taught at Champaign High School. And I got a call in the fall of 64, from Dr. Doran. He'd called home and talked to Mom and Dad, and they gave him my telephone number in Illinois. So he calls and he says, look, Morehead is scheduled to play Ball State in Indianapolis coming Saturday. It was in mid-October or so. And he said, I want you to come to Indianapolis. And he said, I'd like to sit and talk with you. And I said, okay. I said, but, it's not that far away. It's about 2 hours from Champaign. And so grabbed Sandy and Tony, we'd go to the game. And so he and Mrs. Dorn were there. I sat with him, and he said, I want you to think about something. I want you to come back to Morehead and join the faculty next year. And I said, I really never thought about doing that. And so we got back, we sat and we talked about it, and I said, yes, I will come back. And he brought me back, and fall of '65, I was assistant track coach, and I was assistant basketball coach with Sonny Allen with the freshman team. And so that, to me, was a much, as far as the seriousness of the offer itself, for me to become the first black faculty member at Morehead. Now, trust me as an athlete was something, but to trust me to be able to go into the classroom, to be able to shape minds of of all the kids there, that was another bold step that he was able to take. And so, we'd still talk. He would want to know what was going on, but it was a lot of, I thought it was more pressure then because I had to study and read and make sure the lessons were shaped. But at the same time, I got the idea that I could possibly go on and do a doctorate. So I taught from '65 until '69 at Morehead. I started seeking funds to go to graduate school to start the PhD back in '67 and '68. Went to Ohio State the summer of '68 to begin to take additional coursework. During my career, I've done a lot of work in special education, in motor learning for children with special needs and so forth. And so I took all special ed classes at Ohio State. The next year, I made application for a scholarship from the state of Kentucky, and still had not gotten any hits at all. I'd written Illinois and asked them, was there anything available? And all of a sudden I get back. What a surprise. Illinois had applied for a grant from the Department of Education, and that grant was for a doctoral student, tuition, stipend. They said, well, what you've done in your background, you fill this position. And so I became a research associate while I was doing my PhD at Illinois. That was, I just couldn't believe it. Again, my tuition's paid for. As a research associate, I was making $1,000 a month in 1969. And so now that's tax-free. That is a situation. So now I go back to Illinois, start the degree, and one of the assistant track coaches decided that was it. He was not going to coach anymore. So Coach Bob Wright was the head coach. Contacted me, said, well, would you like to become an assistant track coach? So I had to go in and talk to my department chairman, Dr. Alan Sapora. He said, well, will you be able to teach these classes, do your research, and coach? And I said, well, I would like to give it a try. And he said, remember, you are here to complete your degree. And I said, I will never forget that part. And so from 1970 to '73, the time I was completing my degree, I started in '69, but I finished in '73. I was, a research associate. I was teaching some classes, as well as assistant track coach. And doing quite well. It worked out. Yeah, it was a super coaching experience. We finished second in the Big Ten, which was an incredible experience there. And we lost the Big Ten track meet. And this was in '73, because the track was mismeasured by the engineering department. All we had to do was beat Michigan in the mile relay. And in a triangular meet before, we had destroyed Michigan. So we get to the point where we know we're in now. So after the first handoff, we are 12 yards behind. After we, and we could never make it up. And so all of a sudden, we asked the engineers when they measured, said, "Oh, we thought this was the starting line. For every lane, we were 3 yards off." And so we're in lane 4, 12 yards back to start with. We could never make it up. And so we finished, I know the kids on the track team were excited. They were ready to throw the coaches into the steeplechase pit. And we were all prepared, ready to go. And then all of a sudden, we lose to Michigan in the final, But it was a good experience. The things the opportunity at Morehead I had to get into coaching, to learn the concept of recruiting and moving forward. Yeah, it paid off in the Big Ten. It was a different group there. So, basically, the whole preparation at Morehead was such that if you focus, and I'll go back to that concept that Dr. Doran was talking about, are you here to get an education? And that was a different ball game. It was not just to get this sheepskin or this degree. I wanted to learn, and that I used that in the classrooms when I was teaching. I taught at Morehead from '65 to '69. I was at Illinois from '69 to '73. My first teaching job after that, I was an associate professor at State University of New York at Cortland, New York, from '73 to '74. A friend of mine, the National Recreation Meeting was here in Washington, and this was in October. And so I come down with a friend of mine, his name is Dr. Carls, and I run into Dr. Joe Johnson. Now, Dr. Johnson was from Grambling. He had been working with the president at the University of Colorado, Dr. Rautenstrauss. He asked me, he said, would you be willing to come to Boulder to teach? And I said, well, Joe, I just moved the family from Illinois, halfway across the country here. And he said, no, Colorado needs you. We need more black faculty members out there. In fact, there were only 10 of us black faculty members there at that time. And so I go to